U.S. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta is in Beijing for talks with Chinese military officials and the country's next top leader, Xi Jinping. Now, Panetta's visit to China comes after a stop in Japan and at a time when tension between Beijing and Tokyo has been rising over competing sovereignty claims of the Diaoyu Islands. Now, the string of small uninhabited islands has been the source of the diplomatic rift for months that is now spilling on the streets in China. Anti-Japanese rhetoric on the internet has practically taken over Weibo this month, and in an effort to urge both sides to cool off the heated tension, Panetta urged calm during his trip to Japan. Now, the U.S. has been pushed into the spotlight in the Diaoyu Islands row ever since it has been revealed that the islands fall under the U.S.-Japan Security Pact. Now, this has led many to speculate a possible U.S. military involvement in the region, despite repeated claims that Washington will stay neutral in the rift. The AFP speculated that Panetta's visit to Japan did not include a stop in Tokyo due to the sensitivities over the escalating issue. Now, the U.S. Defense Secretary's trip was not just about cooling tension. Japan and the U.S. agreed on a second defense system in Japan, and authorities insisted that the radar system is aimed at protecting the region from possible missile attacks from North Korea. And now Panetta has said that he will explain further details of the plan with Chinese officials in Beijing. Still, many Weibo users mouthed off their skepticism with the defense system, and here's what they had to say.
Do you really need two missile defense systems to guard against North Korea? The United States is the most likely country to find excuses to tell lies. Wild schemes of a wolf. Don't think the Chinese people are idiots. This is good, as for it gives us a reason to constantly update our own weapons. Let's sell a nuclear bomb to North Korea. Does this need an explanation? China will also develop a stronger anti-missile defense system, but it won't be aimed at America or Japan.
Panetta and Japanese Foreign Minister Koichiro Gamba also discussed the Diaoyu Islands issue, with Gamba reiterating the importance of the Japan-U.S. Security Pact. Meanwhile, Panetta said that both countries will continue to work to strengthen ties. Now, comments on Weibo range from questioning how far the United States will possibly go in protecting Japan to how China should respond. And here's what they had to say.
The little Diaoyu Islands could be the fuse that starts World War III. The U.S.-Japan alliance can't protect Japan. If it's not dealt with now, China will have to deal with it in 20 years. The U.S. Defense Secretary is saying to the little Japanese, "Brother, don't be afraid. Keep confronting China with confidence. Big brother has your back." Japan is really scared. It's begging its big brother for help. The Japanese devils have not yet fully awakened. They rely entirely on the Chinese people to feed them, and they're still whining. They're asking to be killed.
The U.S. has already confirmed that Panetta will be extending his stay in China to 3 days from 2. The U.S. Secretary of Defense is scheduled to meet Vice President Xi Jinping and Defense Minister Liang Guangli. Panetta is expected to be the first U.S. Defense Secretary to visit China's North Fleet in Qingdao. So let's see what Chinese Weibo users have to say regarding Panetta's visit.
The U.S. is the mastermind behind the Diaoyu Islands conflict. We should be destroying the American embassy, smashing Americans. The Yankees are always saying contradictory things, and they continue to tell lies, claiming that the Diaoyu Islands are under the U.S.-Japan Security Pact in Japan, but saying that they are neutral elsewhere. However, after seeing Panetta repeating the same thing when he arrived in China, I am certain that what America is saying is not meant for the Chinese people to listen, but for them to accept. The purpose of inspecting the North Fleet is to spy and to assess strength and weaknesses.
Military links between the U.S. and China has been strengthening in the last several years, marked by increased official visits and cooperation. And now, in his talks with Chinese officials, Panetta has invited China to participate in the Rim of the Pacific exercise, which is the world's largest joint military exercise for the first time ever in 2014. But until then, both China and the U.S. may have a long ways to go in defusing the Diaoyu Islands row. Now, China's Defense Minister Liang Guangli told Panetta that Beijing strongly opposes the inclusion of the islands under the U.S.-Japan Security Treaty. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see how all parties involved will work towards ending the rift.